Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles, having borderline personality disorder. I talk about my own therapies of being a patient with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been a patient almost 20 years. I also talk about schizophrenia, which my dad had, narcissism, which my mom had, and a plethora of other mental health related topics, including my own therapies and what I struggled with, having unethical psychologists that would sexually take advantage of me. But I only come on as a patient, a former patient. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Please subscribe, hit the subscribe button. It's 100% free. I only ask one thing of you, and that is please be kind in the comments. Be kind to me, be kind to everyone who comments. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do need to agree to be kind. Now, today's topic is a very important topic. It's about bullies. I was bullied at home by my mother, who is narcissistic, and beat me and belittled me, and name-called me, shamed and blamed me. She told me that I was responsible for her life being miserable, that she couldn't leave my dad because she had to take care of me. So my dad was in and out of mental hospitals all my life. He was completely psychotic. He hallucinated and he heard voices. So she, shamed me and blamed me. She called me horrific names. She swore at me, berated me, always swore at me, always said I was, you effing this and you effing that, and go F yourself, and lock me in my room and break my toys, throw my toys away, leave big gouges and welts on me. It was horrific. She was very much a very big bully, and I was so happy when she died. I was celebrating when she died. I was personally free from the Wicked Witch. She was the most horrendous mother in the world, next to Jean McCurdy's. I think Jean McCurdy's mother got me beat, because my mother didn't give me baths when I was 16 years old. But it was pretty horrific what I went through. But what made it worse was when I went to school, I still couldn't escape the bullies because I was severely bullied. Oops, the wind is windy today. Sorry about that. Help! Yeah, my tripod was falling forward in the wind. Because at school, I would be bullied too. So I couldn't escape it. I was an only child, right? My dad was in a mental institute. He was schizophrenic. My mother was narcissistic and beat me up and belittled me and shamed me. And then I go to school. In grade school, there was this one obese girl. She was like 6 foot tall. She looked 6 foot tall. And she was like 300 pounds. I'm not kidding you. Her name was Antoinette Lamorte. That's it. Antoinette Lamorte. Now me, I was a short little girl. I'm only 5'2", and as an adult, a full-grown adult, 5'2". When I was in grade school, I was like, teeny weeny, like a Barbie doll. I was very skinny, like really undernourished, really thin, really short. And this girl, Antoinette Lamorte, sounds like a French name, but that was her name. She used to beat on me. Can you imagine Why would she? I never bothered her. I kept to myself. As a child, I was painfully shy. Painfully. I stayed to myself. I kept to myself. I didn't say boo or to anyone. I just, well, she used to beat me up, something horrible. And back then, the teachers did nothing. They looked the other way. This is what's horrible. These were adult teachers, And I went to a Catholic school, so these were nuns, an adult woman, and adult men. And it's like, can't you see that a child is severely being beaten, tormented, and picked on at school? I mean, these girls were so brassy, and Antoinette was like the head of a group of girls that used to torment me. She'd be like the cult, like the Charles Manson. She would. Everyone would follow whatever she said. They would do like Charles Manson. They would do all her bidding. So, they would go after me, whatever she wanted. They would steal my books so I couldn't study. They would steal my lunch. I couldn't eat. I wasn't eating. I was dropping a lot of weight. I was being beaten up with bleeding gouges on me. I wore long sleeves so no one could see at home what was happening. So basically, these adult teachers did nada. It should be a federal offense. It should be a crime. It should be criminal. It should be criminal. For these teachers, they didn't know the living nightmare. The living nightmare. I had no siblings. I had nobody. And school was not a safe place because I was being beaten and tormented and tortured at school by bullies. I was a little girl. I was a shy girl. I was very insecure because of my upbringing. So I go to school. I couldn't study. I almost flunked out of school because I couldn't study because I'd be so scared going to school. Like this big, fat, obese Antoinette was, going to beat me up. Even though I did nothing to provoke her. I just was very quiet, very timid. I just kept to myself. And then when I went home, my mother would beat me up, My mother treated me like dirt, If I left, a crumb, even a crumb on the counter or something, I don't know. It happens. You're a kid. Didn't you ever leave a crumb on the table or a crumb on the counter? Or I don't know. You didn't wash your hands were sticky? Well, she'd fly into a rage and beat me up and leave scars on my body because how dare you leave a crumb? One little crumb on her impeccable floor. She used to lock me out of the house when she washed her floor. I'm a little kid. Did your mother ever lock you out of the house to wash her floor? She locked the door and locked me out. Couldn't come in. And when she washed the floor, she'd take hours. Not like a normal person who just goes over the floor. No, her floors was like these hundreds and hundreds of dollars for one little tile. It was a tile floor. Really expensive, like Italian tile. It wasn't like a normal floor, like in a normal house. She bought this Dresden, all these knickknacks that were $500 to $1,000 that you'd see maybe in mansions. I don't even, And my father made no money at all. My father was a shipper. He used to ship things, put things in boxes, put labels on them, and then ship them out. That's what a shipper does. You put things in a box, you put a label on it, and you ship it out. They make no money at all. I mean, maybe they make the equivalent of someone, a cashier at CVS, something like that. About the lines of that, like retail work, And my mother She used to babysit kids. That's what she used to do. But she didn't really babysit them. She'd throw them in front of the TV all day and then and then smoke her cigarettes and watch her soap operas or whatever. You know, she didn't interact with them or take them out or do anything with them. Oh, she'd feed them, but you know, at the end of the day, she'd change their diaper and wash their face before their mothers came. See, nowadays, people are more aware of abuse. Nowadays, you know, back then, people turned a blind eye. Teachers turned a blind eye. Even families among themselves turned a blind eye. No one would snitch on, oh, my sister's beating a kid. That's my sister. I'm not going to snitch on her. See what I'm saying? So even within families, they wouldn't tell, oh, I can't say anything. That's my brother. No, I can't say anything. Even my mother was babysitting a child. It would be against the law now. She was babysitting a child who was severely beaten. He had bruises all over him. And she told me that she knew this child was being beaten because she told me that his grandmother told her that the child was being beaten. And his parents were ministers. How do you like that? Ministers. They're supposed to be religious people, you know, do good, goodwill, you know, peacemakers, ministers of churches. His grandmother, the child's grandmother, once told my mother what was happening, and my mother, what does she care? My mother's beating me, so she's not going to give a shit. Hey, she just wants the money. Throw the kid in front of the TV and collect the money. But nowadays, you know, people speak up because it's a crime not to, you know. It was a crime for these teachers, you know, to see me being, you know, in that condition and not say anything, you know. They used to blame me like my mother. When I was failing school because of all the stress, I couldn't study. I was being beaten at home, then I go to school and I was being beaten at school. The teacher come up to me and say, "Are you stupid?" I swear to God, she took me outside the classroom. She said, "Who's the first president? Are you stupid? You're doing terrible in school. Are you retarded?" This is what the teacher said to me. Instead of looking into my background about the horror, the nightmare I was living at home and at school. No one investigated anything. No one cared. They all blamed me. I was retarded. Are you stupid? Are you retarded? Is something wrong with you? That's what the teacher said to me. Instead of talking to my mother, duh, wouldn't that make more sense? Why don't you talk to the parent and see what's wrong with them? Why don't you talk to them, the adult? Why take a little child who's like shaking in her shoes and go, "Are you retarded? Are you stupid? Is something wrong with you?" I swear to God, this is what happened. This is why I try to do my channel, to make people aware of these things. If a child is not doing well in school, look into their parents, look into their home life. You know, it's like a no-brainer. Be aware of what is happening in school. Be aware of what's happening in the schoolyard. Watch what's happening in the schoolyard. Inquire. Talk to the parents. What is happening to that child at home? Don't take the child aside and blame them and say, "Is something wrong with you? Are you retarded?" You know? Yeah. It's just despicable. I hope people wake up. And if you see a child in school who's like dissociating, is dazed out, who isn't with it, not paying attention, maybe you ought to look into it. Maybe you ought to talk to the parents. Maybe you ought to be more aware in the schoolyard. Find out what's going on with that child instead of calling them retarded and stupid and asking them, "What's wrong with you?"